If you thought the coil tool was fun, wait until you try the sweep tool. Right here's the sweep tool. We're going to learn about that in this video. So let's go ahead and we're going to open up a new part file. And we're actually going to use the sweep tool two ways. We're going to make a paper clip with it first, and then we're going to use it to sweep a profile like a router bit would do on a box lid. And so first one we're going to do is start 2D sketch. And we'll just pick any plane. And this is important. When we go to draw out our paper clip, we want our first line for this paper clip to be on the origin when we start it. So we want to be at the origin when we start. Okay, now I'm going to drag a line up. I'm going to click escape to free me from that line tool. Paper clips typically have got like 4 straight pieces and 3 arcs. So I'm coming over, I'm using that dotted line to inference. So my starting point lines up. And then this one I'm going to stop a little short of the bottom. And we'll escape. Now I'm going to do another line over here. I want this bottom to line up with the bottom of my new line. So you can see I'm inferencing that point. I'm going to come up and I'll stop a little short of the top of this line I drew. And now we're going to do this one more time. Line number 4, I'm going to try and line up the top. And I'll stop just short of the bottom of that third line I drew. So now I'm going to click escape. And I'm going to grab my arc tool and I'm going to start connecting these. So we'll start with those last 2 lines. I'm going to click the end points. And then I'm going to drag my arc up until I see those 2 tangent symbols appear. That tells me I got a nice curve for what we're trying to do here on this paper clip. And now I'm going to go from the third line I drew to the second line I drew. I'll do the same thing with that 3-point arc, drag it down until I see the tangent symbol, and then we'll lock it in. And then we'll go from the first to the second line, drag it up. Nope, I'm running out of space here. Let's try that one more time. We're going to use the arc tool, drag it up till we see that tangent sign appear, and that's kind of what we want our sketch to look like. So it kind of looks like a 2-dimensional paper clip. So we're going to finish this sketch. Now, I said it was important we started our line on the origin. So what we're going to do is come over here to the plus on our model bar next to origin, and we're going to look for the plane that is perpendicular to that starting point. So in this case, it's my XZ plane. And I'm going to right click on this plane and then say new sketch. All right. And remember, my first line started at the origin. So now I'm going to draw a circle that starts at my origin. And I want to make sure when I'm drawing this circle, we might kind of have to eyeball this. I don't want this circle to go past the like center point of these 2 lines. So my circle's looking a little large now. I'm going to grab the dimension tool. And it says it's 0.66. I'm going to make this like 0.03. And your numbers may vary. Again, what we're looking for is the edge of this circle shouldn't go past like the midpoint between any of these lines. And so once we've done that, we're going to say finish sketch. And now we get to use the sweep tool. All right, so in the sweep tool, we need a profile and we need a path. So it already selected my profile because that's the only closed loop I've got. And then my path would be this curve right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that curve or that line that I just made. Right, and you can see it gives me a preview of what this is going to look like. I like that. So I'm going to say OK. And then again, if I come up here and I change it from that default color to something more paper clippy, you can see what that would look like. All right. If you want to save this one, you can. If you've gone through, you've mastered it, and you're feeling good about that, you don't need to save it. The next one we're going to do is a sweep tool to look like a router rounded over the top of a box. Yeah, so I'm going to go to, again, open up a standard part. I'm going to do a 2D sketch. And I'm going to draw a 4-inch by 6-inch rectangle. Oh, and I'm still in that center point rectangle from earlier in one of my previous videos. So I'm going to do the drop down and go back to my regular 2-point. So there's one corner. All right, and we'll just do a 4-6-inch box. Finish that sketch. Here's what we're looking at. I'm going to extrude this box up. Let's go 4 inches. See what that looks like. Does that look like a nice box? That looks like kind of a tall box. Let's go 2 inches. All right, I like it. So I'm going to make this into a cherry box, and I want to put a nice profiled edge on. So I'm going to pick cherry, and then I'm going to go start 2D sketch, and I'm going to come into this angle, and I'm going to zoom in on one of the corners of my box. And then I'm going to sketch out that edge I want to draw on here. Now this is going to kind of be like when we did the axle. I'm going to purposely make this bigger than my project. So I'm going to draw a straight line coming down. I'm going to escape from that. Go back to my line tool. I'm going to draw a line just coming over. So keeping it at a 90. I'm going to come down, and then I'm going to come into my box a little ways down here. And then I'm going to take the arc tool. I'm going to connect these 2 points using an arc. All right, so something that looks like that. Ooh, and I didn't quite get these to touch, so I'm going to use my extend tool, and I'm going to click this line and tell it to extend down. So now I've got a closed profile. All right, so get something like that sketched on your screen. Again, it doesn't need to be exactly the same, but something similar. Make sure it's a closed profile. We'll hit Finish Sketch. Okay, and now I'm going to use the Sweep tool again. This time, I'm going to go down to my output area, and I want to make sure I've got Cut selected. Okay. Again, it picked my profile because this is the only closed profile I have. So now for my path, I'm going to go through and I'm going to start clicking on the straight lines that I want it to follow around the top of my box. And I'll click OK. And you can see it looks like we took and ran a router bit around here, and we've got kind of a fancy profile on the top of that box. So there's another use of that sweep tool for you. Again, you don't need to save this one. This was just to get you some practice. Unless for some reason you want to keep it, you don't have to. So good job on learning the sweep tool. We're slowly pecking away at all these 3D tools up here. We've got more to go, but we'll cover them in some future videos.